Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography Podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Hello there, folks. Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest is Jag Moondi. She is a domestic violence survivor and advocate. How are you doing today, Jag?
I'm good, thanks, Brad. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here, and I appreciate you being here to share your story and your journey and all the adversity you've overcome, and I just appreciate you being here and sharing.
Yes, and thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
It's my pleasure. My pleasure. How's your day going so far?
So far, so good. We actually have some nice weather today. It's been gloomy and raining here in Toronto. It seems like it's been 2 weeks of this nonstop.
Yeah,
so.
It feels like it doesn't. The sun is out today, so it's nice, actually.
It is.
So let's jump right in. So you, as I mentioned, you're an advocate for domestic violence and its victims, and you, of course, yourself have had your fair share of trauma and struggles that you've gone through as a result of being a victim of domestic violence. Can you tell us briefly a bit about your personal story?
So I was in an abusive marriage. There was verbal, emotional, mental, and physical abuse involved. And it took me 10 years to make the decision to leave. And the abuse actually had started prior to us getting married. So in hindsight, that was a major red flag right there and probably shouldn't have gone ahead with the marriage. But, you know, it is what it is. And so we were married for 10 years and it took me that long to leave. I hid the abuse from all of my family and friends for about 5 years until I finally told my family. But it took me an extra 5 years before I was finally able to leave. And when I did, everyone was surprised. No one expected it. We had painted this perfect picture of a happy, loving family. We had the beautiful house and car, a son and a daughter. So to the outside world, life couldn't look more perfect.
Right. Now, do you find in your work now that you're doing, is this a common trait where the women hide it from their families and friends, and this picture perfect life is portrayed?
Yes. So just from people that I have come across, a lot of them tend to keep it a secret. And whether that is for reasons of shame or, because they have painted this perfect picture for the outside world, they often don't share it. And some of them don't know how to talk about it. Some of them don't want to actually admit that this is happening. And for others, it could be because of fear, right? Fear of their partner finding out what might happen if this gets out. And for me personally, that was one of the reasons why I didn't share, because he would, threaten me with that, like, oh, don't you dare tell anybody. Didn't want anyone to know anything that was happening.
I would imagine a big part of it is shame as well.
Well, absolutely. Because no one expects something like that to happen to them. You know what I mean? Like, that's not what your hopes and dreams are of your marriage. So when something like that happens, and there's also a lot of victim blaming. Often the abuser blames the victim, like it's your fault that this is happening to you.
Jesus, that's
right.
Horrible.
Yeah.
So there begins the mental abuse, and I'm sure. I mean, I've always heard that mental abuse is far worse than physical. The physical, yes, you have pain and you're left with scars, but the mental abuse, the scars stay a lot longer.
Oh, absolutely. Mental and emotional, I would say, is by far a lot worse. And when you hear the same thing over and over again, you do start doubting yourself, and you do start,
believing what they're telling you, right?
Exactly. And you're like, you know what, maybe it is my fault. And then, that's another reason for you not to tell anybody.
Yeah. So what was the breaking point or light bulb moment for you when where you just said, you know what, enough's enough. Things have to change. I have to get out of this situation. I can't keep going like this. I can't continue to live in this environment.
I did my best to shield my children from the realities of my marriage. But my aha moment came when my son, who must have been 4 at the time, and my daughter was around 3, he goes to me, Mommy, how come you and Daddy don't kiss?
Wow.
And right there, I was like, oh my God, he's picking up on it.
Yeah.
And
at such a young age too.
Exactly. At such a young age. And I'm thinking, okay, where is he getting this idea from? Because we're not watching, R-rated movies where there's like people kissing, on TV.
Yeah.
And, obviously we're not doing it. And at this point, my ex and I were pretty much already separated under the same roof. Like we weren't eating meals together. My life revolved around my kids.
Yeah.
If he was sitting downstairs, I would be upstairs in our bedroom. If he came upstairs for whatever reason, I would go downstairs with the kids. So I was like, okay, he's picking up on this. And then from there I was like, and that just right there broke my heart. And I knew I had to leave. Yeah. I didn't want my son and daughter to think that this is what a normal and healthy marriage is supposed to be.
Right.
Where, there's no love or affection or hugging or kissing. Like this isn't what I wanted them to look for in a partner in the future.
Absolutely.
Right. And so that was it. Like prior to that, there was so much back and forth for me, wanting to leave with guilt and, and manipulation from him. But that was my breaking point. Okay. And, with no financial stability, no plan or knowing how I was going to make things work, I just set out to start a new life for myself and for my 2 kids. And I knew I had to get out and give myself and them a better life, no matter what the struggle would be. We would just get through it.
It's so funny that kids, we don't give them the credit they're due. We think that as adults, we think that they don't realize, they don't know what's going on. They're too young. They know a lot more than we give them credit for, and they pick up on a lot more than we give them credit for. And at such a young age, that's mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm. They are so intuitive. Honestly, they pick up on everything. I mean, and I made it a point not to, cry or show them such emotions and do it in front of them. But sometimes I just know that you're sad, like Mommy's sad, you know what I mean? And that was just no way to live. Yeah,
for sure. Now, you began recently sharing your journey through domestic violence and being a single mother on social media. Was that cathartic for you? How tough was that to put yourself and your story out there and talk about it publicly?
In the beginning, it was hard for me. It really was. I had never spoken about it so openly and publicly before. I had shared my story with family and friends, but that was it. So some of the posts that I have written, they were quite difficult to write. Yeah. Every time I sat down to write, I would start crying and feeling anxious, having to relive those moments again.
I'm sure.
And a lot of things I had actually pushed out of my head too, right? So when I was writing about them, I was literally reliving them. And in ways it was therapeutic for me. It was allowing me to revisit the past, write down my thoughts and feelings, and to work through them. It's also a work in progress. There are certain issues that I still have to deal with and certain moments that I haven't allowed myself to kind of go back to. But every time I do share my journey, it does help me more and more.
Well, that's good then. That's the whole point of it, getting it out and onto paper, or whether you're putting it out on social media or just writing it in a journal on paper for you, to get it out has got to be incredibly cathartic, I would think.
Oh, absolutely.
So what prompted you to talk about it and put your story out there on social media for the world to see? Like, why did you decide to do that as opposed to, say, writing your thoughts down or your experiences down in a journal?
I felt the time was right. It was something I had hidden for over a decade.
Okay.
And I strongly believe that everything happens for a reason. And I thought maybe the reason why God had made me go through this was so that I could help others. And that perhaps my reason for enduring such abuse and not only surviving, but thriving, was to use my voice and share my story so that other women may have the strength and the courage to leave an abusive marriage, and to not only give them hope, but to also empower them to live their best life.
Amazing. Now, what was the initial response when you first started putting your story out there?
I have had such a great response. It was quite overwhelming, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Did you expect that?
I didn't. I didn't. Like, I just started my Instagram page and, started posting. I didn't know who was going to follow me, who wasn't, or who was going to share. And I received messages from women from all over the world.
Wow.
Some were telling me of their own experiences with domestic violence, whether it was from their past. Some of them, unfortunately, are in their current situation is like that.
Right.
Others were offering love and support, many telling me how my story has helped them and inspired them. So it really has been wonderful.
That's incredible. Women all over the world. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, from all over Canada. I had someone from the UK. I think there was Australia. So, yeah. That's
amazing. It just goes to show you this is one of the good or positive things about social media and its capabilities. I mean, I've had a few conversations as of late about social media and how it's, on one hand, it's one of the greatest inventions along with the cell phone. And on the other hand, those two are two incredibly terrible inventions with the things that come out of it. But this is one of these amazing things that comes out of it, where we are able to communicate with people on the other side of the world and share stories together and help each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's amazing. So how have your children fared through all of this now?
They're doing amazingly well. It honestly feels as if this has been the life that they've always known.
Yeah.
So I've always been honest with them. So they're fully aware as to why mommy and daddy broke up.
Right.
And, they're happy, they're healthy, they're loving life. And I don't think they would change anything, to be honest.
Do they still spend time with him?
They do. They do get to see their dad, as often as they like. So they have their relationship with him, and then we have our little family together.
Good. And how are things when he has the kid? Like, obviously you have to see each other to pick up and drop the kids off. How are things and the tensions between the two of you?
Yeah. So we try to remain civil in front of the children.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than that, we're not really on civil terms. So, drop-offs and pickups. I usually do pick up and drop-offs. He does not know where I live. We live in the same town. It's a small town, about 8 minutes away from each other. But if I have to pick up or drop off, I will drop them to his house. That is where we used to live together.
Okay.
Or it will happen just straight from school.
Yeah. Now, is he in denial about all of this? Like, does he realize that he's fucked up and done wrong and the horrible things he's done?
So he does admit to the abuse, that he was abusive, but I think in his mind, he feels that I was deserving of it, that it was my fault, that, I basically brought it upon myself, or, I should have been able to better manage his emotions. So if an argument was escalating, I should have de-escalated it instead of
you got to be kidding me. That was your responsibility?
Pretty much, yeah.
To de-escalate his emotions.
Right.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That is unreal.
I mean, even to this day, we can't have a conversation without him like yelling or screaming or being vulgar. So try to avoid that as much as possible.
Yeah. You're better off.
Yes.
Now, in light of all this, you found the strength and the courage to create a support group to help others who may be going through similar situations. How long after you left your situation did you decide to create this group?
The support group actually came as a result of me sharing my journey through domestic violence.
Okay.
I had many women after I shared my own story who contacted me asking for advice, help and support. I had others who told me that there aren't very many services or support groups available for South Asian women, because this is such a taboo topic within the South Asian community. It is not talked about at all. So, I had a lot of women telling me that there wasn't anything that was specifically for South Asian women. So from that, my support group was created. And even when I look back, I didn't know who to talk to or where to go for help when I was in my situation. I mean, I wasn't going to my family and didn't tell anyone for 5 years. And I was like, okay, what do I do? Where do I go? Right. So I felt it was important to provide this for others.
How long then has the group been in existence now?
Since May of this year, so May 2020.
And what's the name of the group? Can you tell us a bit about it and how things work?
Yeah, so the name of the group is Meri Saheli. Okay. So Meri in Punjabi means my, and Saheli means friend. Okay. So if you translate it, it says my friend.
Very nice.
So Meri Saheli is a group for those seeking help, healing and support. Our main objective is to provide a safe haven for those who want to share their story, obtain the resources and help they need through other organizations or their peers, and join a community where they know they're not alone. My biggest thing was I always felt that I was the only one. Right. Right. And we are here to offer help, healing, and advice for those who are impacted by domestic violence or grief, if you're experiencing marital problems. And we offer support for single parenting, financial literacy, and much more. We provide a sounding board, a shoulder to lean on, an ear to listen, and a helping hand in any way we can. So if someone comes to us for help or support, we will connect them with the right organizations, whether it's counseling services, legal services, single parent support groups. So like Meri Saheli is not a counseling service, right? But we will connect you with whatever service it is you need. So if you come to us and you need a lawyer because you're in the process of separating, we'll connect you with a family lawyer if you don't have one. If you're looking for a counselor or a therapist, we have a list of highly recommended counseling services that we can connect you with, even financial literacy programs, because a lot of women who are in domestic violence situations, their abusers actually take away their financial freedom, so they don't have money. And that sometimes tends to be one of the main reasons why they stay, because they're like, how am I going to support myself and my children? Yeah. Right. Yeah. So just to be able to kind of help them with that, whether it's like resume building, helping get back into the workforce. So whatever help they are needing, we will connect them with the right people and organizations so that they can get that help.
Now, is this more specific to the South Asian community?
No, it's for anybody. Okay. Men, women. Yeah. I just made it like the name more South Asian, so that, with South Asian community, there are always more reluctant to come forward. So at least this way they can see that, they are
There's a comfort factor there, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, how have things been faring through all of this with COVID? And I mean, a support group, typically in my mind, when I think support group, you meet in person and you share your stories and you help each other through it. So how has that been operating? How has the group been working during this time?
Yeah. So obviously we are not able to be meeting in person. A lot of the people who have been contacting us has been more for counseling and therapy sessions. There have been a few women who have been wanting to connect with other women in similar situations. So we've been able to connect them so they can speak on a peer-to-peer basis, level. Yeah. And of course we don't share information without the others or permission. Of course, yeah. So, there's that. And we're hoping that once, COVID stops that or ends, that we're able to do more in-person support groups and, healing groups and such, and provide more services like workshops and things like that.
I was reading through your bio and some of the stuff, and the statistics that you put in there for domestic violence are like, I mean, of course I knew it existed, but the numbers are fucking staggering. I was shocked. It's horrific. I mean, I would imagine these statistics have also increased during the pandemic, which is horrible. Can you tell us a bit about the stats and what can be done to help during this difficult time? Because as we all know, it's very difficult, and the stats have increased because of what's going on, people being stuck at home. So it increases and heightens things. What can we do to help during this time? And tell us a bit more about the stats.
So in Canada alone, 123 women and girls have been killed in a domestic homicide from January 1st, 2020 to October 26, 2020.
Jeez. Unbelievable.
And statistics show domestic violence has increased 20 to 30% in many countries across the world. Okay. And the Assaulted Women's Helpline has reported that their calls have gone from 4,000 calls a month to 8,000 calls a month.
Doubled. I mean, 4,000 is terrible to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is absolutely staggering and so terribly sad.
Yeah. And usually they receive 50,000 calls a year.
Yeah.
50,000 in 1 year. And they have received a total of 55,000 calls just from March to September. So since the pandemic, they have received a total number that they would get
they receive in a full year. Holy shit.
So you can just imagine how many women actually don't ask for help. So the ones that are not calling these helplines or hotlines, and ones who are not reporting their abuse to the police. So yes, the numbers are staggering. They're very real and they're scary because, you know, we don't know what is happening behind closed doors on a regular day, let alone a pandemic, because even, you know, during non-pandemic time, at least these women, and, you know, there's children too, had some relief when their abuser would go to work or go out of the house, right? And right now we're all at home. Yeah.
Holy crap, that is unbelievable. I mean, how do we even begin to tackle an issue as prevalent and large as this? I mean, these stats are just mind-boggling. Where does it start? Like, how do we start helping and solving this problem?
I think it definitely starts with awareness. A lot of people aren't even aware of how prevalent domestic violence actually is. So it is so important to just educate ourselves and, you know, to educate ourselves of just not how much it occurs in society, but to also look out for signs. I mean, I think of myself, for 5 years, no one had any clue that there was anything wrong in my life. And, you know, we as, you know, women who get abused, we are so good at hiding it. Right. Another thing is you can donate to organizations and charities that support victims of domestic violence, whether that's helplines or shelters, and whether it's a monetary donation or, you know, items that you can donate, you can reach out to them and ask them what they're in need of. And also at home, talk about healthy relationships at home with your children so that, you know, this doesn't keep happening, or if they ever find themselves in a situation, which God forbid doesn't happen, that they're able to know what to do. And also share sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. It's okay.
Oh, I was just going to say, and also share resources with friends and family as much as you can. And if you have a loved one experiencing domestic violence, just be there to support them. They're not going to leave because you're asking them or telling them to leave the situation. But even if, you know, you're just there to listen, sometimes that's more than enough without giving unsolicited advice, right? And you can also equip yourself to being able to help them if they ever do finally come to you asking for help. So familiarize yourself with things such as a safety plan. How would you help them, you know, make a safety plan? You know, have a list of resources ready for them, whether it's for a shelter or where they can go for financial support or legal advice. So, you know, I think that is probably where we should start in helping to tackle this issue.
But how do we get the women who are scared to speak up and talk about it? Like you said, you kept it hidden. So how do we help the women to speak about it in order to begin helping them?
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think it is more awareness. So if you see a story online of somebody, if you see these staggering statistics, share them, because a lot of women feel that they're the only ones.
Right.
That they're alone.
Yeah.
And if they can see that they are not alone, it gives you courage, right? Like we always hear the saying, there's courage and strength in numbers.
Yes.
So if you see that, and if you can see that there is help and there is support, like I didn't know that any of these support groups or helplines or shelters existed. Right. And I, am born and raised in Canada. I'm educated. And just when you're in that situation, those thoughts don't even cross your mind. Like your only instinct is survival. Like for you to survive and for you to protect your children, you're not sitting there on the computer researching and trying to figure out,
of course,
right, what to do or where to go. But I mean, now with technology literally in our hands, if you come across these resources, share them, whether it's sharing them on your own social media platform or if you're sending it to a friend. So I think the more women know that this is a large issue, not just something small, that they're not alone and that there are resources and organizations available to help them and protect them, I think that would give them some courage and strength and comfort in being able to come forward and talk about it and hopefully just leave their situation altogether.
Yeah. So to date, what would you say is your biggest high or your greatest win?
I think my greatest win would be having the courage to start over and facing my fears of the unknown, because I didn't know how I was going to do it. Yeah. And that could be one of many reasons probably why I stayed for as long as I did, because I'm like, how am I going to raise 2 children on my own? Yeah. What's going to happen to us? Yeah. So once you face those fears and you just go for it, and that's what I did. And whether that courage came from that one conversation with my son,
I think that's incredible. Incredible. And congratulations to you for pulling yourself out and having the courage, because that could not have been easy at all. So congratulations to you, and you deserve to be congratulated for your courage. I think it's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that was one of the hardest decisions.
I'm sure it was. I mean, you're a single mother. You'll be a single mother with 2 kids to raise, and leaving something that you've been in for 10 years and leaving because of the reason you left. It's just, wow. So how did your family finally react when you finally told them that this had been going on? Like, what was their reaction? How did they see, like, what did they say?
Well, everyone was surprised. They just could not believe that this was even happening. They were supportive. That's one thing about my family. They were super supportive. I have heard stories within the South Asian community where women have faced domestic violence, and families have, tried to get them to make it work or go to counseling, and it's like, how can you do that and try to make it work with somebody that causes you so much pain and actual abuse, right? So I was lucky. I had an amazingly supportive family, a great support system. But yes, everyone was surprised. They're like, we never would have imagined that, this is who he is, because he was a great dad. I mean, I'm not going to downplay that. He was a great father, and, to everyone else, he was kind and respectful and, a great person, and which I'm sure on many levels he is. But for us, it just did not work like that.
Was there any one single person in your whole circle that when you told said, I knew it, I had a feeling?
Not one.
Wow. Because usually, you hear stories like this, and there is at least one person that will say, I had a feeling there's something not right about this situation or not right about this person.
Mm-hmm. No, not one single person.
Wow.
Not one. Not on my family, not on his family.
Not in your friends.
Not on my friends, not on his friends. Some of his friends I was actually friends with as well.
Yeah.
And even when they found out, they were like, wow, like seriously.
And how did they react? Like, what did they say to you? His family, his friends? Did they believe you? Or were there people who didn't believe you?
So they did believe me.
Okay.
They had to believe me because there was a short period of time where we actually lived with his family for a while before having kids.
Yeah.
So they actually witnessed the abuse.
Okay.
They heard it, so they knew it was true. But unfortunately, so my family was super supportive, great friends, everyone.
Yeah.
There was no like blame game, like whose
Right.
fault was it, like right.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, within the South Asian community, and I'm sure it happens in other communities as well, for some reason, the woman is always to blame.
Jesus.
Okay. So, people think like, oh, maybe she was rude or disrespectful, or maybe she didn't do this, or the house wasn't cleaned, or, just
I don't care what
know.
anyone does or doesn't do. Nobody on earth deserves that. Exactly.
But unfortunately, there are people who have that mentality, and, the woman always is to blame. So when his family found out, they wanted us to work it out. And which you just spoke about. Yeah.
How can someone want you to do that? Like,
yeah. And go to counseling and try therapy, do it for the kids and this and that. And I was just like, I'm done now.
Yeah.
Like, it took me 10 years to figure this out. So
that train's left the station, folks.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Like it took me 10 years to figure it out. I'm not going to change my mind now.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So, yeah.
Who would you say have been 3 of the most influential people in your life?
Most influential people in my life. I would definitely say my parents, both my mom and my dad. Their work ethic, their unconditional love and support is, what inspires me every day. In terms of others, I don't know if I have anyone specific, but there are a number of people who have inspired me and helped me to get to where I am today. Other family members like my sister. I have a group of, really close friends. I try to read and, watch a lot of inspirational movies and read books and stuff from, inspiring women and men as well. So I think it's just a lot of different influences in my life, I think, that have gotten me to where I am.
Okay. What would you say is one of the most important things you've learned in your life? And what was your life like before learning it? And what was your life like after learning it?
I think one of the most important things I've learned is that you need to put yourself and your happiness first. Before, I always put others first and accommodating to everyone else's needs and wants, hence why I was where I was for the longest time.
Right.
And I lost a part of myself and who I was in doing so. I now feel more whole. And I realize that when you take care of yourself and you're being true to who you are, it's not being selfish.
Yeah.
It really isn't. And we're made to feel that, you're being selfish if you say no to something, or if you want to, put your own happiness ahead, and you're made to feel guilty about it. But I learned that when I was doing that before, I was just in a situation that just wasn't good for me.
Yeah, I was having this conversation with someone else about just putting yourself first and thinking about you, because I think everything, the basis, the foundation for everything starts with you and self-love. And they brought up a point. It's like, well, think about it like this. When you get on an airplane and you're sitting there waiting to take off, what do they tell you? When they're giving their instructions, they talk about if something should happen, that there's a crash, put your oxygen mask on first before you help others. So
yeah,
that, I mean, it's prevalent everywhere. This idea of looking after yourself, right? Because listen, if your cup is half empty, what good are you in terms of helping other people? You have to have your cup full first before you can help others. If you're worn out and you're worn down, or you're not feeling your best, how are you going to help anyone else?
Absolutely. 100%. So that was one of my biggest lessons.
Can you share a situation that's occurred in your life that you feel provides insight as to your character?
Well, most recently I've had a number of family and friends who've just reached out to me to share their story, and it's not necessarily related to domestic violence, but you know, a lot of them have told me that, you know, they're now able to do that and share their story, not just with me, but with family and friends, because I had the courage to share mine.
Yeah, I think, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay, no problem.
I was just going to say that when we give ourselves permission to share, when we share, it is like giving others permission to share as well, because they see you doing it, saying, hey, I'm not the only one going through something here. This person's going through it. So she had the courage to do it, or he had the courage to share. So I should do the same thing.
And it also makes others more comfortable as well, to share their story with you.
Yes.
Because they can see who you are, right? So if you're allowing yourself to be vulnerable and put yourself out there, they're like, hey, like she or he, they're being their true self. They're putting it all out there. So this is somebody that, you know, I can see myself like going to, whether it's just sharing my story with them or asking for advice or help, because they're being genuine, right? Like what you see is what you get. Like you're not hiding anything. Like you're just open.
You know, I'd be curious to know, I was just thinking back to when we were talking about the statistics, I'm curious to know what the statistics are for men who are abused. I know it's nowhere near what women are enduring, but I'm very curious to know what that is, because, and what made me think about it is thinking about what Johnny Depp has been going through, or went through a few months back. He was being abused by his partner. So I'm just curious what the statistics are in the reverse.
Yeah, I am actually trying to get a hold of those. You know, I'm not sure if you're aware, but November is actually Domestic Violence Awareness Month here in Canada. So I'm just doing my research right now and trying to gather some resources and statistics. So that's one of the things on my list, to see if there are, in fact, statistics.
I mean, maybe there's not even statistics because there's not enough cases. Who knows, right?
Exactly. So we don't really know that.
I'm very curious, though. I'd like to know when you do find out. I would love to
I'll definitely
hear that information.
Send them your way. Yeah, I'll definitely send them over.
What makes you feel inspired or like your best self, Jag?
I feel most inspired when I'm doing what I love. And that is bringing more awareness to domestic violence and being able to help as many people as I can. And seeing that what I am doing is making a difference, even if it's in one person's life. Like when I, you know, share a post and I get comments or messages of women saying like, wow, that's so inspiring. Like, you know, you're so strong, or this really resonates with me. You know, I mean, I'm not gaining any sort of like monetary benefit or fame and fortune from sharing my story with others. It is literally to help people. And, you know, when I get messages like that, it just really makes me feel so good inside that I'm able to reach somebody else and to touch them in such a way that, you know.
Yeah, you know, I would say that has got to be the most incredible feeling in the world, to know that you've impacted someone else's life and made them feel a little bit better, or tweak their mindset a little bit, or whatever the case may be. It's the most amazing feeling when you can have that kind of impact on another human being.
Exactly, yeah.
What would you say is one of the best pieces of advice you've ever received?
That advice has come from my parents. So They told me, and I remember them telling this to me and my siblings from a very young age, that my life and my actions is my own responsibility and no one else's, and that you need to take control of it and own it.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it got lost somewhere for a while. And then I, had to find my way back to that. As long as you can say
you found it again.
Yeah.
What do you feel most grateful for in your life?
My kids, my family, my health, and my freedom to live the way I choose to.
Awesome. What makes you smile?
Life does. For the longest time, I felt imprisoned in my life, right? Like it literally felt like a prison. Yes, it was freedom. So life makes me smile because we're lucky for every day that we're able to live it. And, when you are able to live it with that freedom, the freedom of choice, the freedom of speech, not living in fear, for me, every day, I didn't know what to expect. I was literally living on eggshells, and I did not know when one conversation would turn into an argument, or if I was going to get slapped or punched that day. Right. Yeah. So just to live life, like life is just, it's amazing.
Without fear.
Yeah. Without fear.
If you were guaranteed the correct answer to one question in life, what would you ask?
Will my children live a happy, successful life, the life of their dreams?
What is your best tip for making the world a better place? What would you say would help in that mission?
More kindness and acceptance. The news is full of so much negativity, and that alone can consume all of us. And, if you take 2020, for example, so much has happened around the globe, not just with the pandemic, but from a political, economical, social, and racial standpoint. Yeah. So if 2020 has taught us anything, I would hope that it is about being more accepting of those we share this earth with and cherishing one another more than material things.
It really is. When you break it down and think about it, it's such a simple concept to be kind to other human beings. I can't wrap my head around why this is so hard for the human race to grasp. Yeah,
just be nice.
Yes, it doesn't cost you anything. You're not paying anything out of pocket. It baffles me that we can't figure this out.
It's not taking anything away from you, No. It's not doing anything to you. It might actually cause you happiness.
That's right. It's within all of us.
Yeah. So,
I can't wrap my head around why this is such a hard concept to grasp for some people, or a lot of people, shall we say. Yep. It just boggles my mind.
I agree.
I guess we just have to do our own part in our own worlds, and hopefully that has that domino or ripple effect onto the people around us that we surround ourselves with, and so on and so on, right?
Yeah, I certainly hope so.
I hope so. What are you most proud of?
As of this moment, I would say I'm most proud of the way I'm raising my children. They're growing up to be kind, compassionate, and loving human beings, and that's what I want to put out into this world. My ex would always say that our children will have issues because they're coming from a broken home and don't have a mom and a dad, and they get made fun of.
But they do have a mom and dad.
Yes, just not together. Yeah,
that's right.
That they would get made fun of at school and things like that, and they may struggle socially or in school, just all this stuff. And the fact that I've proven him wrong, I'm like, and it's all my doing.
Of course. It's funny. I hear so often that, oh no, stay together for the kids. The kids will suffer. And no. The kids will suffer more in a home that is broken, that you're staying together for them. That's the most ridiculous notion I've ever heard in my life.
Absolutely. And you know what? And that is what he wanted. He wanted us to stay together for the sake of the kids. And, he would make me feel so guilty. He'd be like, you're going to ruin their lives if you leave. You're being selfish. You're going to ruin their lives. And as a parent, and especially as a mother, I was like, oh my God, you know what? Am I going to ruin their lives? Like maybe
Yeah,
he's right.
you start
Maybe
to
if only
question.
you
Well,
do.
being in the situation you were in as well doesn't help.
Absolutely.
Right?
But you know what? You cannot stay in a marriage, and even if there's no abuse in there, but like, let's just say there's just no love,
Yeah.
and you know, you still can't stay for the sake of the kids, because like if my 4-year-old picked up that mommy and daddy don't hug and kiss,
Yes.
how are they going to be when they're 16 and they're going to grow to resent you, right? So
I honestly believe it would do more damage staying than it does good.
Yeah, I mean, you're supposed to be, as a parent, the best example for your child.
Yeah.
So what are you teaching them then?
Yeah. I again, this is yet another thing I cannot wrap my head around. Why people even think that that's a correct way to think, or it just blows me away. It's a very it's something very simple that anyone with common sense would see that no, this would be more damaging.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know.
Well, then common sense isn't so common, is it?
Exactly.
How would you like to be remembered, Jag?
I would like to be remembered as an amazing mother, a true friend, loving daughter and sister, and as someone who wanted to make a difference in this world, who advocated for those who weren't able to fight their own fight.
Beautiful. How would you describe yourself in one word?
Resilient.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What is your personal motto?
Never give up. Life has its challenges, and giving up is always an easy way out, but staying the course and accomplishing what you've set out to achieve is so much more rewarding.
Love it. If you were writing your autobiography, what would the title be?
Loving, losing, learning to live again.
That's awesome. I love that. That's beautiful. What gives you the motivation to keep going?
My kids. They're my biggest cheerleaders and also my biggest critics. Okay. I would never want them to ever do a speech on my birthday or something, because they would just probably roast me the entire time. But they make me want to do more and be better. You know, I also want to set the example for them that you can achieve anything you put your mind to, and to never give up, even when things get tough. And, you know, they've seen me go through it. So, you know, they've actually witnessed it, and they see that even when you're at your lowest lows, you can still rise above all that.
Courage. You've definitely given them a lesson in courage, that's for sure, and that you can do anything you want. That's incredible. What's the most recent investment you've made in yourself?
Joining the gym. I had to take a break actually from the gym for almost 2 years. I suffered a major leg injury.
Okay.
So health is the most important thing, and getting back into the gym and just staying active is really important to me. And I knew I had to get back to it. So I joined the gym last month and made it a point to go at least 3 or 4 times a week.
Good for you.
Yeah, to the point where my kids will even be like, "So, how's the gym today?" Like, "Oh, thanks. Thanks for asking. Thanks for noticing."
Excellent. What's your favorite stress-reducing activity?
I would say reading. I love to get lost in the pages of a good book. Right now, I'm reading Jay Shetty's book, Think Like a Monk.
Okay. Jay Shetty's awesome.
Yeah, he really is. He's so motivational and inspirational, and you know, a lot of his videos and meditations have really helped me. So wanted to dig into that book. And
excellent. If you could teach the world one thing, what would that one thing be?
To love and be kind. There's so much chaos and hate that exists in the world. And I think if we could just learn to love one another the same, we could live together peacefully and without hate. Yeah.
If you came with a warning label, what would yours say?
Oh gosh, I had to actually ask my sister about this one, because no filter.
No filter?
Yeah,
I like that.
I've always been a very blunt and straightforward person, which can be both a good thing and a bad thing, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, depending on the person you're speaking to.
Yes. Like, I mean, even with my children, I don't hide things or sugarcoat. I'm real and honest with them. And I think it helps them learn to be more resilient and understanding of the world and the circumstances around them.
For sure.
Even at a young age.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Okay.
If you had a theme song that played every time you walked in a room, what would that song be?
Oh, gosh. Okay, this probably sounds a little cliche, but Destiny's Child Survivor.
I had someone else say that to me this week, actually. That was their answer.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just always resonated with me.
Yeah.
And it's so powerful. And looking back at all the hardships and obstacles I've gone through in my life, I survived and came out stronger. So it's probably a theme song for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah. Lastly, if you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
I've actually thought a lot about this, especially as I raise my own kids. I'm a planner by nature, and growing up, I always had this plan in my head of how I wanted my life to be. I would get married by this age and have kids by this, and the things I needed to accomplish. And I look back now, and it's okay if everything doesn't go according to plan, or things don't work out the way you thought they would, because sometimes plan B is a lot better than plan A.
True. Actually, I've got one more for you. What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Empowerment. I think empowerment to me means doing what I can to not only live my best life and the life of my dreams, but to help others do the same.
Okay. I love it. Jag, thank you so much for having the courage to share your story and put it out there to help others. I think that's incredibly admirable and selfless. And thank you for being here and sharing your story with me and with the audience and talking about your journey and what you've been through. It takes a lot of courage to do that. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate everything you've gone through. And I think it's incredible the way you've bounced back and how resilient you've been, and how you're giving back through learning through your struggles, and just having the courage to give back is just incredible. You should be very proud of what you're doing. And I just want you to know I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here and sharing with us today.
Thank you so much, Brad. Thank you for having me on here. And I also appreciate your platform and what you're doing as well by, sharing stories of other women and, empowering and providing this for everyone. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography Podcast. Today, my guest has been Jag Moondi. She is a domestic violence survivor and advocate. Thank you so much, Jag. I hope you have an amazing afternoon.
Thanks, Brad.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at viseuphoria.ca and follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.